Hi, I'm Charlie. This is my channel, Charlie's Lessons, and today we're looking at Blookett's new game mode, Blooke Rush. So let's take a look at this new game mode and see how we can use it as teachers in the classroom. Now, if this is the first time you're using Blookett, then why don't you go check out my tutorial right here? Once you've made an account on blookett.com, we're going to go to a question set that you've created. Make sure it's a question set where you've got a lot of questions for the students to answer. So once we've got a question set selected, we're just going to go to host and then host again. Now, the minimum to play is 2 players, but the Blookett game mode does recommend team mode. So when you do press host and you go to the next screen, then you'll see a recommendation to play in teams. You can then choose the time mode. So the default is 7 minutes. I personally think this is too long. I would probably reduce this to anywhere between 5 and 4 minutes. For Blooke Rush, you need at least 2 players. You can choose to have the instructions shown at the beginning of the game, so if this is the first time you're playing this with your students, then have this ticked. And if you want the students to use random names or not, then this is really up to you. And here we have, from the teacher's view, the website the students need to visit and the code that the students need to put in their own device. If we look at the student's view, we can see the students have to put a game ID in to enter. When students have input the game ID, they have to choose a Blooke that represents them. Now, there is also an option to sign up or log in. You don't need your students to log in or sign up for this game. Once all the students are entered, the teacher can see all of them, and all they need to do is press start. The students go into teams. Now, you can play solo, but the idea behind this new Blooke game mode is that the students play in teams. So when the game starts, students can see on the teacher's screen that they have the same number of Blookes. Now, the objective of the game is to have the most Blookes at the end of the time limit. When students answer a question correctly, they get to choose between attack or defend. If one team attacks another team who doesn't defend, then they will remove one of the team's shields. The shields serve to protect the Blookes. So when the shields drop to 0, then if a team attacks that team with 0 shields, then they will begin to take away their Blookes. Now, if you decide to attack a team that chooses to defend, then you will cancel each other out. If both teams, in this case, decide to defend, they will both gain 1 shield. If you decide to defend and are not attacked by any team, you will always gain 1 shield. When students get the correct answer, they can usually decide to attack or defend. But if they get enough answers right, they can add another Blooke to their team. On the teacher's screen, all the students can see what's happening, and they can see how many Blookes each team has. And this is very important because the students need to decide if they need to continue attacking or start defending. And this is where the strategy comes in. So how do we, as English teachers, make the most of this game mode in our classroom? The way I use it is I like to focus on the fact that the students are playing in teams and strategizing together. Now, I know that the questions are in English and the answers are in English, so they are practicing their reading, vocabulary, and perhaps grammar skills during the game. But what I want to focus on is the meta language. And when I say meta language, I'm talking about the language the students are using in their team during the game. So during the game, obviously the students have to speak to each other and make decisions almost instantaneously about what they're going to do in the game. For example, attack or defend. So the students are going to be looking up at the teacher's screen and making decisions about, well, which team is winning and which team do we need to attack? And I ask my students to make these decisions in English. So you need to teach your students language of recommendations, advice, obligation, or even conditionals. For example, if we don't attack this team, they will get stronger. Or we should attack this team because they have more Blookes than us. We are winning, so we should defend now. And this is something that we often forget about teaching our students when we do play games in our classroom. If we're playing a board game, for example, then we really need to teach our students how to say things like, it's my turn, it's your turn. Can you give me the dice? Are you going to roll the dice? Can I have a card, please? And if you teach your students this language, then it means that the whole game is played out in English. If you do play Bluk Rush with your students, then leave a comment below and tell me how you got on. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.